Well, hello there. This is Dr. Dell, and I'm going to talk to you on this video about the new SupraComputer, the incredible new tool that is now available in this 21st century that you have somehow heard about and come to this video. Perhaps you were given the survey questions about the SupraComputer. There are 20 different features that we ask you about on this survey to see which ones you would be most interested in. And you can download the PDF of this survey that accompanies this video and print it out if you want to, just to see which one of these you want to pay particular attention to. But I'm going to really talk about all of them very briefly now in this demonstration. You can also download the PDF, which is the answers to these 20 survey questions, plus a bonus at the end. So if you don't want to watch the video, you can download it, and pretty much this is what I'm going to tell you on this video. Well, this is the SupraComputer. It's a small desktop computer. It's the size of a deck of cards, as you can see. It has 4 USB ports, so you can plug in a keyboard or a flash drive or whatever you want to into this. You can hook it straight into the internet through an Ethernet plug here if you want to, but most people use Wi-Fi, and it will hook to Wi-Fi automatically for you. It has a plug-in for the HDMI cable. This lets you plug it into any monitor, just like I've done in the background. I have a SupraComputer plugged into this particular TV. It's a 24-inch television, LED TV that I bought at Walmart for under $100. And this is the plug-in for the power supply. Now, this is not battery operated. You must include a power supply plugged into here, and if you lose your power, of course, it goes off immediately. And so this, in essence, is what the SupraComputer is, perhaps the world's smallest desktop computer. But it's loaded with incredible tools, as you're going to learn now in the rest of this video. Now, when you get your SupraComputer, it'll come in this box, a box this size. It'll have a label on it, of course, with your name on it, and shipping address and all that information. You're going to open it up, and there'll be an instant startup guide. It takes about 3 steps to start it up, and in it will be your SupraComputer. And also in it will be an HDMI cable, so that you will be able to hook this into any kind of a monitor or TV that you want to, so you don't have to go out and buy an HDMI cable. It also comes with the power supply you need. Now, this is just a 5-volt, 2.5 amp power supply. It's sort of like what you use for a cell phone, but it's more powerful than that, and you need more powerful than that. And it also then will come with a little safety manual that you'll need, and also it comes with a little black thing here that I will tell you about later what this is used for. You'll find this very useful when you're traveling. So that's what you're going to get when you get the SupraComputer. Now, we ask in the first survey question if you'd like to get a powerful, portable desktop computer for less than $300. Well, the facts of the matter are, the SupraComputer itself, as you're going to learn, you're going to be able to get one of these for less than $200. In fact, with a discount coupon I'm going to tell you how to get before the video's over, you'll be able to get one of these for $179. So if you go out and buy a TV like this, this was under $100 for this 24-inch LED TV, and if you buy a keyboard for about $20, you'll have the entire thing then for under $300. That's where that came from. This is the keyboard that I like to use because I can carry it with me, it's convenient, and I personally like a touchpad. Now, it'll take any kind of a keyboard, so if you want a big keyboard with a mouse, that's fine. You want to choose the keyboard of your choice, and you also want to choose the monitor or the TV of your choice. In fact, if you're traveling, as you're going to learn, you can plug this into another TV or wherever you might happen to be. So now let's go ahead and answer and review some of these survey question answers. Well, when you buy your SupraComputer, the very first thing you're going to be told to do is, of course, to plug it in and hook it to a monitor, but you'll go over here and you'll hook to Wi-Fi. And so you'll hook to a Wi-Fi, and if you don't have Wi-Fi, you can hook to Ethernet, but you're going to need to do one of those two and get on the internet. And then you're going to be basically ready to go. And you have other information here that we'll explain in the user manual. In fact, you get a very detailed user manual over here that you'll be able to click onto that's going to tell you how to do all the things and use all these things that I'm about to tell you about. Now, there's a lot of things that are available to you, and if you come over here and click on this thing, this Raspberry Pi symbol here, you'll come down and find out that there's all kinds of programming languages you can use. And so there they are, and the one that we're going to be talking about mostly today is Mathematica, but you have Java and Python, and you have some programming languages for children, Scratch and Thorny Python and so on. So this thing is just full of programming languages for people of all ages. The next thing you're going to find out is you have LibreOffice. Now, LibreOffice lets you do spreadsheets and Word documents, and it has drawing programs. It does all sorts of things, and you can create documents that are compatible with other Office-type products. And so for those of you that want to do that, that's going to be something that's going to be valuable. Now, we use the Chromium browser on the supercomputer because, as you're going to learn, it uses the Linux operating system. And so this Chromium browser is actually quite terrific. And what it means is that you're going to be able to surf the web much faster and easier and quicker. It'll block ads, and also when you go to pay bills, it's much faster because when you have the Linux operating system, which this is based on, this computer is, then it doesn't have anything running in the background, and you don't have to worry about constant updates. And so when you turn it on, it's going to turn on very, very quickly, and I'm going to demonstrate that in just a moment. First, I will tell you they had a lot of games on it. There are games for adults, Sudoku, for example. A lot of adults like to play that. There's Python games on it. Minecraft is something young children just love to play with. And there's things for even younger children, SupraTux and things like that. And so you got lots and lots of games to play. And so if you have children, you can entertain them for hours with this thing. There's a lot of accessories that you can use that you would expect on a computer: calculator, file manager, PDF viewer, and so on. And then there's some educational things, again, for younger children. This is really great for when you have young children you're trying to teach things to. It has a graphics program so you can manipulate graphics and do things of that nature. It has some system tools that you'll occasionally need to use, and you'll be taught how to do that when it's necessary. You probably won't use this very much. And you have some preferences that you'll be able to set up your thing and configure it. And you're taught how to use these preferences with the user manual that you'll have. Now, let me go out and talk to you about the Chromium browser. I've already opened it up, and so here's the Chromium browser. And I've opened up several web pages already, so I don't have to slow this down. This is my email account, for example, where I can go over and get emails and do things with that. CraigHain.com is a website that'll tell you all about me. I've been doing teaching math now for decades and decades, and we have a great online program that you can learn all about. A company I founded is called Triad Math, and you can go here and learn all about our math program. It has nothing to do with a supercomputer, by the way. You can run this on any kind of a regular computer or a Chromebook. I will tell you, however, that it does run better on the supercomputer for some really good technical reasons. And then, of course, there's a supercomputer website where you can go to, and I'll show you in a moment what that's all about. In fact, let me just right now, I'm going to back up to our home page, and this is the supercomputer website home page. It may not be the one you'll have at the time you see this, but this is our current version of it. And then, of course, you can go to YouTube. Now, I use YouTube a great deal. When I go to YouTube, there's just so much educational material on YouTube that you can get. You can get things from, well, just all sorts of educational material. There's a lot of junk on YouTube, I realize, but there's also a tremendous amount of videos on it. This happens to be one of my videos on some topic on, I'm talking about manual math tools because people want to know about that. My website, CraigHain.com, to learn all about me. You can also learn all about teaching math from a free... Now I'm letting the audio go through the HDMI monitor, but you can come up here, as you'll learn the user manual, and run it through earphones as well, and that's what you often do. So this is a web page that we're doing, and of course you can jump around with YouTube. You can move ahead if you want to, as you know, and there we're moving ahead and talking about things. We're up to the 3-minute mark on this. I'm going to pause it. Now here's something that's kind of interesting about this whole thing. You know, I told you that this comes on in 30 seconds anytime you turn it on. Well, let's suppose that you're running a video. Now, I will tell you that the supercomputer can freeze up on occasions. If you get too many things going, which I often do, it'll freeze on me. And when that happens, there's only one thing I can do, and that's turn the power off and turn it back on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the power and then turn it back on, and you'll see how long it takes to come up anytime you turn it on. So let's get ready to go. And if you've got a watch or something, you can time this. So I'm going to turn it off. It's off. Now I'm going to turn it back on, and we're going to wait. And it normally takes about 30 seconds for this to completely come up. And anytime you turn it on, this is something I love about it compared to a typical, my Windows 10 computer, which sometimes takes a long time to come up. And sometimes they're actually updating it and adding a lot of stuff to it, which never happens here. This happens to be an Element TV, by the way, I bought for under $100 at Walmart. Beautiful 24-inch TV. I set it up at 1280 by 800, and now it's coming up, and here we're back, and now we're on. This is how long it takes, about 30 seconds. So if I have to restart it, I guess 30 seconds to do. Now, here's something that's very interesting. You say, well, boy, you had all those tabs open in the Chromium browser, and you lost them now. You turned off your computer, and now you got to go back and redo all that. Well, watch this. Chromium didn't shut down correctly. Do you want to restore the pages? And I'm going to hit restore. And now watch what happens. They all come back up for me. I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose any time on it. And in fact, the YouTube video comes back up. And sometimes, I don't think it did it this time, but sometimes it comes up right where I was in running it. But if it does it, you can go back to wherever you were in it and click on it, and now you're back to running the YouTube video wherever you wanted to be when it cut out. So this is a wonderful feature I discovered almost by accident when I was playing with it. You learn a lot as you use this thing. We tell you all this in the user manual, of course, the in-depth user manual. And so now I'm going to stop this for a little bit and talk about some other things that are on the survey. Okay, let's say you're getting ready to travel. You're going to take a trip somewhere. And you've got a lot of really valuable data that are stored in your supercomputer. Maybe you definitely don't want anyone else to see it because it's very private and valuable to you. And of course, you want to put this supercomputer in your pocket and carry it with you. But it could get lost or stolen, or for that matter, you might have an authority confiscate it. Well, look at this. This is your SD card in the back. You take that out, and now this supercomputer is nothing more than a paperweight. All your important data is here, and all you've got to do is store that data someplace that is convenient and safe. What I like to do is take this little black thing that I included, this SanDisk thing, and I like to put my SD card in this because this is a little bit larger, less likely to get lost, and then this I store along with my most valuable things like a passport, money, whatever I might have, and all my data is there. And nobody can get to it. It's strictly private, and so that's a very valuable feature when you're traveling or when you have your supercomputer in some place where it might be stolen or lost. Okay, now, I believe at this point we have covered the first 15 topics in this survey. And of course, there are different people that are using a supercomputer that find various of these features just invaluable to them, and they wouldn't give it up for anything. Maybe to entertain their children, educate their children, traveling, surfing the internet, so on and so on and so forth. But here's the thing that I am most excited about. I'm a math teacher, as you know, and we have a wonderful math program that we've got that'll teach mathematics all the way through STEM math. Well, this supercomputer is like having an expert mathematician on call 24/7. It's like having an expert math tutor available. It'll solve any STEM math problem you can give it. In fact, you can use this as a tool to learn math concepts. It literally revolutionizes the way we learn math today and the way we use math in our STEM subjects, science and engineering. It's a phenomenal thing. And that's what I want to demonstrate now to you. Okay, you come over here to this beautiful little red thing here. This is the Mathematica symbol, and you click on it and up it comes. And this is the wonderful set of Mathematica tools. Now, the first thing you see here is this box, and this takes you to a documentation center, and I won't get into that now, but there's this documentation center would consume 50,000 pages if it were printed out. There's that much you can do with this tool. It's just an unbelievable tool. But I'm going to minimize that now. This is called a Mathematica notebook. And with this Mathematica notebook, you come up here and you push this plus sign, and you can start creating programs in what is called Wolfram language that I won't get into in detail. It's a modern programming language that anybody that's interested in programming want to learn. It came out in 2015. It's the programming language that Siri was written in and Wolfram Alpha was written in. And it's also got Wolfram Alpha. And this, of course, is actually going to be now the tool that you're going to use over and over when you do math. Now, to make this demonstration go a little quicker, I have gone ahead and I've created some Wolfram Alpha tools. So I'm going to open up a file I've already created. And I just called it Demo 1, and up it comes. It's going to take a little bit. When you bring in a new file from that you saved, it takes time for it to format it into this notebook. And there it is. It's doing it. And I'm letting you see what it takes to do. And here it is. Now, I gave it a STEM math problem that might come up in engineering. You might want to find the arc length of something. And I just put in a very simple function, sine of x. That's a trig function. And I ask it to find the arc length from 0.7 to 2.9, where x goes from 0.7 to 2.9. And it went out and did it. It took a little time. It takes about a minute. It does this, by the way, not on the computer. It goes over to somewhere in Illinois, I think, to a bank of computers and does this with a powerful, powerful supercomputer. Now, it tells you that the integral that represents this is this integral right here. And if you knew calculus, and if you'd studied arc length, you'd know that. It's the derivative of the sine, which is the cosine. You square that, you add 1, you take the square root, and you integrate it from 0.7 to 0.29, and there is the answer. And then it graphs it for you, and it shows you this is what the arc length would look like going from there to there. And that is all in a Wolfram Alpha notebook. Now, normally when you use Wolfram Alpha with a regular computer, you would lose this when you went to something else. But this is stored in your notebook. That's what makes it such a wonderful educational tool. You can go to Wolfram Alpha and do things like this and save it. Now, let's say that you were a calculus student studying calculus, and you were told to find the arc length of the sine, just the problem I just did. Well, you would know that you had to take the derivative of the sine, which is the cosine, and square it, add 1, then take the square root of that and integrate it from 0.7 to 2.9. And of course, so you would be expected to do that. Well, this is the command we gave to Wolfram Alpha to do that. And it came down and said, okay, here's the definite integral, here it is, and here's the answer. Notice over here, though, it didn't give you any step-by-step solution because guess what? There isn't one. Now, it goes ahead and shows you this. Now, in this case, it's actually showing you the area under this curve, which we know represents the arc length. You learned all this in calculus if you took calculus. And it tells you that the indefinite integral to do this is, oh my goodness, look here, it's an elliptic integral. It is what's called a special function. This is not something that would be taught in a regular calculus class because it's too difficult. This is saved for really advanced math, and this is what engineers have to understand and do. And Wolfram Alpha does this for you automatically. So that's just a phenomenal thing that it does. It does things that you cannot do manually at all. Now, I'm going to show you another thing it'll do that you can do manually. Let's say that in calculus you were told to integrate, this means anti-differentiate, x times sine of x. Now, by the way, if you don't know math, just skip ahead till you get to where I talk about the Supercomputer Club. But you might want to watch this. This is something, and it gives you the answer. And now over here it would say step-by-step solution, which I already clicked. And now it shows you how to do it step by step. You use something called integration by parts. And this is how you would be taught. So if you have to learn how to do this thing manually, then Wolfram Alpha teaches you. That's why I call it a math tutor. Any kind of a math problem that you can do manually, it will actually give you a step-by-step tutorial on it. And that's just a phenomenal feature to have. And so that's why I call this a math tutor. And it goes ahead and graphs it for you. Well, it's much better than any graphing calculator you'll ever use. And it also shows you, for example, a series expansion. If you wanted to approximate this with a polynomial, it shows you that. And then finally, it even gives you an example of a definite integral of this, in this case from 0 to pi. So Wolfram Alpha is a phenomenal, phenomenal tool that just helps you do everything you'll ever want to do in mathematics. And so if you are a math student of any kind, beyond most elementary, you'll even do elementary math and teach. You can even use this for beginners. It'll teach them how to do counting and things like that. Then this is a tool that you're going to want. And the nice thing about it on the supercomputer is that you can store all of these Wolfram Alpha answers, and so you can have them to go back and look at later. Okay, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you about a wonderful thing called the Supercomputer Club. This might be the most amazing benefit for some of you of all. Now, the supercomputer is a miraculous piece of technology, 21st century technology. You've heard about all the things it'll do, but it's more than that. It's going to, when you buy one, you're going to join a club. Now, this is my private personal supercomputer. It says Craig Haynes Supercomputer, Triad Math Inc. We can private label these, and Triad Math has done so. And I'm going to come up here now to the Chromium browser, and I'm going to click on that, and up it's going to come. And now what I'm going to do, I've been to a lot of different places here, and I'm going to click on the Supercomputer tab and bring it up. And here's the Supercomputer website that you've seen before. Now, if you go over here to the top, it says Supercomputer Clubs. And if you click on that, it'll tell you all about the club. So go to supercomputer.org, click on that, and you'll learn all about all the wonderful benefits of it. But among other things, when you join the club, you get access, and you bought a supercomputer, you get access to all the other wonderful videos. So I'm going to hit login here. And I've already logged in. There's my username. I had a password. Normally the passwords are only about 5 digits long. And here you now, once you buy a supercomputer, you're going to have access to this. Now there's user guides, and these are videos that go with the user guide that comes with the supercomputer. So if you click on this, user guides, you'll see that you have all the videos below for the different things that we've talked about. So it isn't just enough to read it sometimes in a written manual like the supercomputer guide, but you got videos that talk about all these. So there's a lot of things you're going to learn about, and you can go and find the appropriate video to teach yourself that. So that's one of the things that you'll get. The other thing that you're going to get, this you could download the guide and the cloud printing user guide, but I'm going to go back now and hit the back button. And here's something, if you have young children, you're going to love. Perhaps, I think, the Uncle Jack Elementary Math Training for Parents, because I have created, I think it's a total of 8 videos that tell you how my Uncle Jack, and this is me, by the way, that old ugly looking guy there, that's me, and I'm going to tell you in these videos how my Uncle Jack taught me math when I was a young child. I start off, and he used Cheerios to teach me how to count in the very, very beginning. And in fact, Cheerios came out a couple years before he taught me this. And then he taught me how to use Cheerios to add and subtract single digits. And then he taught me the decimal place using money, dimes and pennies. And that's very interesting to learn the decimal place system. That's what we insist that students know before they start our regular program. Then he taught me something in geometry called the 3-4-5 rule for setting fence posts straight and making square angles. And he taught me a lot of other things. And then I bring in the calculator and tell you how we use it today. And there's a wrap-up video. These are the Uncle Jack videos. And I think if you have young children, you ought to watch these videos so you can teach your young children things about math, especially if they're having any kind of trouble in school. It's extremely important to get people off on the right foot with math. If they get a phobia for it, then you got to overcome that, and that's not good. Uncle Jack gave me a tremendous advantage. Now, the thing that's most important of all for students today, advanced students, are the STEM training videos. We have all these training videos here that are going to teach you about how to use this tool for all sorts of STEM math. I haven't counted up the total number of videos here, but I think it's like 25 of them. So if you're taking modern math and you want to learn about this, you'll study these videos. These videos will teach you how to do things. Let's say you're studying inflection points and you need a lesson on that. Well, you'll come up here and you click on that, and all of a sudden you're going to have a 15-minute video that's going to show you, it takes a little time to load, on how to do this. Now, I've got this set up so that you don't hear the audio. It's already on earphones, the way I've set it up. But this is going to show you now how to use the tool Wolfram Alpha to do asymptotes. That's just an example. There are many, many other examples of that. So that's what I wanted to show you. When you join when you buy a supercomputer, you're going to become a member of the club. And that's just going to have all sorts of benefits to you and access to all of these training videos that you can't get anywhere else. This is only available to club members, and that's people that have acquired a supercomputer. But I do want to emphasize that this is not a math training program. This is teaching you how to use the tool, assuming you know the math. Now, if you don't know the math, then you need to go to our website, Triad Math, Inc., and you need to decide which one of these programs you would need to take. For example, if you are a high school student or an early college student, you want to take the post-elementary math. I say for homeschool, that's for anybody who wants to study on their own. And this will take you all the way through calculus and differential equations, starting with the most basic algebra. This is a 6-tier program. Now, this is not does not come with the supercomputer. This is something you have to buy separately, but it runs great on the supercomputer. It'll run on any other computer as well. We also have workforce math, technical math for the workforce, and that's somewhat different. There's a lot of overlap, but it's somewhat different. So if you're interested in a technical job, you want to go for that. And we also then have a program called STEM Math Made Easy that's strictly for people that are already interested in calculus and STEM math. So we have different programs you need to learn about in addition to this supercomputer. So I wanted to be sure you understood that. And now the last thing I want to tell you is that if you are deciding to buy a supercomputer, some of these benefits you really want to have, you want to go to the supercomputer. I hit the shop tab, and you'll come down here to shop, and it'll say now buy now for $199, and you can do so. But what I want you to do, what we recommend you do, is enter the code of the person that recommended you to come to this site. They gave you a code number, and if you'll enter that, you will get a $20 discount, and it'll only cost you $179. So it's very important you do that. We want you to get that discount. So enter the code number of the person that sent you to this website. And finally, I will just tell you that once you become a club member, there's a lot of things you can then buy at a discount once you're a club member and a supercomputer user, and you'll learn all about that too. So this is Dr. Dell. I hope this has been an educational demonstration for you. And if you feel that a supercomputer would fit your needs and some of those benefits would be good for you, I encourage you to buy one to get started, join the club, go to the forum. There'll be a forum for the club, and perhaps we'll meet sometime in the future. Have a good life. Bye-bye.